You have heard of Pompeii, the ancient Roman city destroyed when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. Less well known is the neighboring city of Herculaneum, also buried by the volcano. The problem is, the volcanic heat left the scrolls so charred and brittle, no one has been able to open them without breaking them into pieces.
Right now, as you watch this, a neural network is reading words that haven't been seen in 2,000 years. Deep inside a particle accelerator at Oxford University, AI algorithms are processing terabytes of data, 3D scans of objects that look like solid charcoal. Machine learning models detect patterns, microscopic texture changes, crackle signatures measured in nanometers, and letter by letter, word by word, they're decoding lost knowledge, ancient philosophy, forgotten history, texts the world thought were gone forever. This is happening right now. But here's the impossible part. These aren't medieval manuscripts in a dusty archive. These are scrolls carbonized by a volcanic eruption, turned to solid charcoal, fused like stone. For 270 years, scientists couldn't read them. They tried everything, failed every time. But artificial intelligence found a way. It detected something no human eye could see. A digital signature, mathematical patterns, encoded information, in threads that are 2,000 years old. The AI has cracked the world's most impossible library. And what it's finding could rewrite ancient history. To understand how we got here, we need to go back. October 19th, 1752, a farmer near Naples, digging a well. His workers strike something hard, not rock, not soil, polished marble, beautiful, multicolored, Roman marble. They dig deeper, statues, bronze sculptures, frescoes. And then, in a back room, stacked neatly on shelves, hundreds of black, lumpy, cylindrical objects. The workers think they're logs, pieces of charcoal. Some get thrown away, others used as torches, until someone drops one, it breaks. And inside, faint marks, writing. These aren't logs, they're books, scrolls, papyrus scrolls, from an ancient library, the only intact library from the classical world ever discovered. Buried for 1,673 years under volcanic debris, preserved, carbonized, unreadable. Welcome to Herculaneum, the wealthy resort town just south of Naples. In 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted. Most people know about Pompeii, the city buried in ash, frozen in time. But Herculaneum? Different story. Pompeii got buried under 4 meters of ash and pumice. Herculaneum got hit by something worse, a pyroclastic flow, 600 degrees Fahrenheit, superheated gas and volcanic debris, moving at 400 miles per hour. It incinerated everything organic instantly. Then, 20 meters of mud and volcanic material hardened into cement. The entire town sealed, airtight, for 700 years. The villa they discovered in 1752? Extraordinary, 4 stories. Waterfront mansion, overlooking the Bay of Naples, most luxurious private residence in Herculaneum. It belonged to Lucius Calpurnius Piso Cesoninus, Julius Caesar's father-in-law, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, his personal philosopher, Philodemus of Gadara, an Epicurean. Epicurus taught that happiness comes from living simply. Friendship, modest pleasures, freedom from fear. Philodemus lived at this villa, taught students, built a library of Epicurean texts, and when Vesuvius erupted, all those books were sitting on shelves. August 24th, 79 AD, mid-afternoon. Vesuvius had been rumbling for days. Then, the pyroclastic flow hit. 600 degrees Fahrenheit superheated gas and volcanic debris, moving at 400 miles per hour. In seconds, everything carbonized. The library, no oxygen, no combustion. The scrolls carbonized instead, turned to solid charcoal, preserved. Then 20 meters of volcanic mud, hardened into rock, airtight seal. For 1,673 years, those scrolls sat exactly where they were shelved, waiting. When King Charles VII of Naples heard about the discovery, he sent engineers, Karl Weber, Swiss military engineer in the Royal Guard, joined the excavations July 1750. Weber was different from other treasure hunters. His superiors wanted treasures for the Royal Museum, ripped them out, shipped them to the palace. But Weber? He was a scientist. He documented everything, drew detailed floor plans, noted exactly where every object was found. He was doing archaeology. A century before archaeology became a science. The work was brutal. Tunnels through hardened volcanic mud, like digging through cement, poisonous gases, cave-ins, convicts and conscripts, forced labor working by candlelight. 20 meters underground. Between 1752 and 1754, they excavated approximately 1,800 scroll fragments, maybe 800 original complete volumes. Some scrolls, neatly stacked on shelves, still organized, exactly where Philodemus left them, in 79 AD. The only intact library from the classical world. Every other ancient library, burned, looted, lost. Alexandria, destroyed. Constantinople, gone. But Herculaneum, preserved by the very eruption that destroyed it. Now here's the problem. These scrolls look like charcoal logs, solid, fused, brittle as glass. Touch them wrong, they crumble to dust. So how do you read them? For 270 years, humanity tried everything and failed. 1753, Antonio Piaggio invents a machine, clamps, threads, weights. Medieval torture device for scrolls. Slowly, over months, it unrolls scrolls millimeter by millimeter. Sometimes it works, sometimes the scroll disintegrates. 19th century, they get aggressive. Slice scrolls in half lengthwise, expose the inside, copy what they see, then scrape that layer off to read the layer below. Destroy the evidence as they go. Rose water, liquid mercury, sulfuric acid, chemical baths, made things worse. Out of 1-800 scrolls, they managed to partially read about 600. The rest? Too fragile, too damaged, too risky. Every method destroyed what they were trying to save, so they stopped. For decades, the scrolls sat in museums, Naples, Paris, Oxford, London, unreadable, tantalizing. Scholars knew these scrolls contained lost works, ancient philosophy, poetry, history, maybe works by Aristotle, Sophocles, Euripides, maybe early Christian writings, lost gospels, all trapped inside solid charcoal. And then, one man refused to give up. Enter Brent Seals, computer scientist, University of Kentucky. In 2009, he had an idea. What if you could read the scrolls without opening them? First attempt, high-resolution X-rays. The theory? X-rays penetrate objects, show what's inside. Medical CT scans see through bodies. Maybe they could see through scrolls. Seals got permission from the Institut de France. They had 6 Herculaneum scrolls, gifts from Napoleon. He scanned them. The images were stunning, every fiber visible, every layer, every wrinkle. But the ink? Nothing. Completely invisible. Failed. Second attempt, look for metal traces. Ancient ink sometimes contained lead, iron, copper. Metals show up bright on X-rays. Seals found tiny amounts of lead in the ink, contamination from lead inkwells, lead water pipes. For a moment, hope. But the amounts were too small, not enough contrast. The ink remained invisible, failed. Third attempt, different wavelengths, infrared scanning, multispectral imaging. This worked, but only on already opened scrolls, where the text was already exposed to air. The closed scrolls, the pristine ones, still unreadable, failed for another decade. Seals kept trying different scanning methods, different machines, different angles. In 2015, breakthrough with the Engedi scroll, ancient Hebrew Bible scroll, carbonized in a fire. He successfully read it using virtual unwrapping, 3D scans, software that digitally unrolls the layers. Success, but there was a catch. Engedi used metallic ink, iron-based. Shows up easily on X-rays. Herculaneum, pure carbon ink, still invisible. Back to square one, then 2019. Seals got $500,000 from the National Endowment for the Humanities. His team made a discovery, a breakthrough that changed everything. The ink, even though it's carbon, creates microscopic texture changes. Liquid ink sits on papyrus fibers, then it dries. As it dries, it contracts slightly, creates microscopic cracks in the carbon layer, creates subtle height variations, nanometers, billionths of a meter, not enough for human eyes to see. But the X-rays, they bend differently where ink sits on fibers. The texture is different, by fractions of a micrometer, measurable. If you know what to look for, enter artificial intelligence, neural networks, digital detectives, train AI models on thousands of images, show them, this is what ink looks like, learn the difference. They needed labeled training data, used infrared photographs of opened scrolls matched to CT scans. Here's where the ink is, here's what it looks like in 3D X-ray data. Feed that to the AI, thousands of examples. The AI learns patterns humans can't see. They used architectures called ResNet and TimesFormer. Digital. Archaeologists with microscopes for eyes. ResNet spots visual patterns. TimesFormer analyzes sequences. Together, they hunt for order and chaos. And slowly, the AI got better, started detecting letters. Faint, ghostly, but real. March 2023. Seals partners with Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. Nat Friedman, former CEO of GitHub, Daniel Gross, AI investor, they launched the Vesuvius Challenge, a global competition, $1 million in prize money. Release everything publicly. Thousands of 3D X-ray scans. The AI training software. The code. The challenge? Read 4 passages from a closed scroll. 85% accuracy required. They estimated less than 30% chance anyone would succeed. December 31st, 2023 deadline. The response? Explosive. 2,763 competitors signed up from everywhere. Students, engineers, computer scientists, hobbyists from China, Ukraine, Germany, Japan, Egypt. They built AI models, competed, refined algorithms. In August 2023, Luke Ferreter gets a message. 21-year-old computer science student, University of Nebraska, at a house party in Omaha, music blaring, his phone pings, Greek letters. His AI detected them, porphyros, purple. The first word read from an unopened scroll in 2,000 years. October 2023. Ferreter wins $40,000. Youssef Nader, Egyptian PhD student, found the same word, wins $10,000. They team up with Julian Schilliger, robotics student from Switzerland. December 2023. They produce something astounding, more than 2,000 characters, 4 full columns of text, far exceeding requirements. February 5th, 2024. $700,000 grand prize to the 3 students. Papyrologists examined the decoded text. Met with widespread amazement. The scroll, written by Philodemus of Gadara, a previously unknown work discussing pleasure, Epicurean philosophy. One passage reads, as 2 in the case of food, we do not right away believe things that are scarce to be absolutely more pleasant than those which are abundant. Questioning whether scarcity makes pleasures more valuable. Are expensive delicacies really better than simple food? Or do we just think they are because they're rare? Another section discusses music, whether abundance of music diminishes pleasure, or if good music is always pleasurable, no matter how much you have. It's philosophy, but it's also incredibly human. Questions people ask today. Does money buy happiness? Do we want what we can't have? Is simple living more fulfilling? This text, written 100 years ago, never read, never known, lost. Until 3 students with machine learning algorithms brought it back. May 2024, another breakthrough. The first time, researchers identify a title, scroll FERC 172, stored at Oxford's Bodleian Library. The AI reveals on Vices, Book 1, also by Philodemus, part of a 10-book series on ethics, books about arrogance, greed, flattery, property management, philosophical guides to living. Virtuously, only fragments were known before. Now, complete passages readable. April 2024, another discovery. Information about Plato's burial place, details nobody knew, hidden for 2,000 years in carbonized text. February 2023, earlier discovery announced. A previously unreadable scroll, damaged beyond hope. AI reveals part of a lost work about Alexander the Great and the Diadochi, the generals who fought over his empire. Text that was gone from human knowledge. Now, readable. The academic community is split. Some scholars are celebrating. This is the greatest literary discovery since the Dead Sea Scrolls. We're recovering voices silenced for 2,000 years. Others are more cautious. We're only reading 5% of these scrolls. We don't know if what we're finding is accurate. The AI could be seeing patterns that aren't there. The debate is fierce, because the implications are massive. What's in these scrolls so far? Mostly Epicurean philosophy. 44 identified works by Philodemus, texts by Epicurus himself. His magnum opus, on nature, books 15 from Epicurean, set out at weight, recovered. Works by other Epicureans, Metrodorus, Demetrius the Spartan. Also discovered, works by Chrysippus, Stoic philosopher. Wrote over 700 works, all considered lost. Segments of his On Providence and Logical Questions, found. Seneca the Elder's Histories, fragments identified in 2018. A poem about the Battle of Actium. September 2nd, 34 in BC, Octavian defeats Mark Antony. An eyewitness account, in verse. One of the earliest examples of Latin poetry manuscripts. Found, readable, preserved. Here's what's extraordinary. This is only 5% of one scroll. One scroll. There are 1,800 scroll fragments recovered. Maybe 800 original volumes. And most of them, still unread. 600 were partially opened historically, text visible, but 200 never opened, never read, sitting in museums, solid charcoal blocks, waiting. And here's the stunning part. The villa, not fully excavated. They stopped digging in 1764. Too dangerous. Volcanic rock too hard. Plus, modern Herculaneum built directly above. You'd have to dig under houses, under streets. In 1990s and 2000s, renewed excavations discovered the atrium, lower levels, seaside pavilion, more statues, more frescoes, more mosaics. But the library? Many scholars believe there's a second library, a lower wing of the villa, still buried. Carl Weber's 18th century floor plan? Incomplete. He mapped what he could reach through tunnels, but ground-penetrating surveys suggest more rooms, more chambers, more storage, possibly containing Latin texts. The villa owner was Roman, spoke Latin, but so far, the library is 95% Greek philosophy, Greek poetry. Where are the Latin works? Where are the Roman histories? The Latin literature? Maybe, still buried. 20 meters underground, under a modern Italian town, sealed, preserved, waiting. In 2016, academics published an open letter pleading with Italian authorities. Resuming excavations, find the rest of the library. Their argument? Vesuvius may erupt again. If it does, the villa could be destroyed, put effectively beyond reach forever. Posterity will not forgive us if we squander this chance. The response? Political complications. Excavation under Herculaneum means relocating families, means destroying modern homes, businesses, means mafia involvement in construction contracts. It's messy. So the villa remains, mostly buried, mostly unexplored. As of 2012, 2,800 square meters left to excavate. 70% of the villa still underground. What could be down there? Scholars dream, maybe lost works of Aristotle, maybe plays by Sophocles, Euripides, Aeschylus. Only 7 of Sophocles' 123 plays survived. What if more are at Herculaneum? Maybe comedies by Menander, poems by Sappho, maybe works by the historians, Diodorus, Theopompus, Ephorus, maybe early Christian texts. The villa was occupied until 79 AD. Christianity was spreading through the Roman Empire. Could there be Christian writings nobody has seen? Lost Gospels? Early church documents? Or Roman histories? Accounts of Julius Caesar, Augustus, Tiberius, written by people who knew them, primary sources, eyewitness testimony, all possibly sitting in sealed rooms, 20 meters underground, preserved perfectly for 1,245 years. The AI technology? Accelerating fast. 2024, Vesuvius Challenge announced new goals. Stage 2, read 90% of 4 fully scanned scrolls, a $100,000 prize. Teams around the world working, refining algorithms, training better models. The technology gets better weekly. Automated segmentation, faster ink detection. What took months in 2023 now takes days. Brent Seals believes they'll read an entire scroll by end of 2024, maybe multiple scrolls. The Aduse Lab at University of Kentucky, processing continuously. They're scanning more scrolls, higher resolution. Diamond Light Source Particle Accelerator in Oxford generates X-rays 10 billion times brighter than the sun, scanning scrolls at 4 micrometer resolution. That's 4 millionths of a meter. You can see individual NK particles. This technology, not just for Herculaneum, the Engedi Scroll, oldest Hebrew Bible scroll after Dead Sea Scrolls, read successfully, medieval manuscripts, books with recycled binding. Old books often cannibalized older texts as binding material. Those texts, now readable, without destroying the book. Egyptian papyri, burned documents, archives, entire fields of study, about to be revolutionized. For 2,000 years, we've had fragments of ancient knowledge, pieces, quotations, secondhand accounts. We know Aristotle wrote 200 works. We have 31. We know Sophocles wrote 123 plays. We have 7. The Library of Alexandria held 400,000 scrolls, all gone, burned, looted, lost to time. Ancient knowledge? We have maybe 10% of what existed. Maybe. Herculaneum? The only intact library, the only one. And now we can read it without destroying it, using AI, using particle accelerators, using mathematics. Some of these texts could completely rewrite history, change our understanding of ancient philosophy, of early Christianity, of Roman politics, of daily life in the classical world. Roger McFarlane, Classical Studies, professor at Brigham Young University. This material goes back 2,000 years. There were people who wrote this. They wrote about love, about war, about peace. They argued with each other. These manuscripts are dialogues, philosophical views of the world. Even if we learn nothing but the deep connection we have to the ancients, in terms of humanity, that's still significant. But it's more than that. These texts, they challenge what we thought we knew. For 2,000 years, Epicurus was misunderstood, condemned as a hedonist, a glutton, a pig. Christian writers called him an atheist, a corrupter of youth. His name became an insult. Epicure meant someone who cares only about pleasure, about their belly, but his actual words? Teach moderation, friendship, simple living. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. This is wisdom, not gluttony, philosophy, not indulgence. And here's the controversy. The Catholic Church spent centuries condemning Epicurus, burning his books, calling his followers heretics. Why? Because Epicurean philosophy challenges religious authority. It says, don't fear the gods. They don't interfere with human life. Don't fear death. Your soul doesn't survive. Don't fear punishment. There's no afterlife. Just live well, be kind, enjoy simple pleasures. This was dangerous in medieval Europe. If people stop fearing hell, the church loses power. So they destroyed Epicurean texts, systematically. For 1,500 years, Epicurus was known only through his enemies, the people who wanted him forgotten. But Herculaneum, it escaped that censorship. These scrolls were buried in 79 AD, before Christianity took over the Roman Empire, before the book burnings, before the Middle Ages. This library is unfiltered, not selected by medieval monks, not copied by Christian scribes, not approved by church censors. And this is the ancient world, in its own voice, raw, authentic, real. Books that weren't supposed to survive, ideas that weren't supposed to be preserved, philosophy that challenged authority, questioned gods, promoted individual happiness over religious fear, all carbonized, hidden, preserved, by accident, by catastrophe, by the same volcano that killed everyone who read them. What else have we gotten wrong? How many other ancient thinkers misrepresented by their enemies? How much knowledge lost because the winners wrote the history? This discovery is forcing us to rewrite what we thought we knew. In 79 AD, Philodemus was writing, discussing pleasure, music, food, questions about how to live well. Then Vesuvius erupted, his library buried, his voice silenced. For 1,945 years, his words sat in darkness, unread, unknown, forgotten. And now, 3 college students, using algorithms, using x-rays, using computers, brought his voice back. We can read his arguments, his ideas, his philosophy 2,000 years later. That's not just archaeology, that's resurrection. The Vesuvius challenge continues. Right now, more scrolls are being scanned every week, new passages decoded. What took months in 2023 takes hours in 2024. By 2025, maybe minutes. The Diamond Light Source Particle Accelerator in Oxford, running 24/7, generating X-rays 10 billion times brighter than the sun, scanning at 4 micrometer resolution. That's 4 millionths of a meter. Scientists at the University of Kentucky, working around the clock, neural networks training, improving learning. The AI models get better daily. And the villa? Still mostly buried. Hundreds more scrolls, possibly still underground, maybe containing texts that could change everything. Lost works by the greatest minds of antiquity, philosophers, poets, historians, all possibly still there. So here's the real question, the one keeping archaeologists awake at night. Should they dig? Excavate under Herculaneum, relocate families, destroy modern homes, risk everything, to find what might be the most important archaeological discovery in history. The potential discoveries are staggering. Lost works of Aristotle, plays by Sophocles, Roman histories by Livy, Tacitus, Suetonius, early Christian texts, lost gospels, all possibly sitting in sealed rooms, 20 meters underground. But here's the scary part. Vesuvius is still active. It erupts every few centuries. The last major eruption, 1944, 80 years ago, geologists say we're overdue for another one. If Vesuvius erupts again, the villa could be destroyed, buried deeper, put beyond reach, forever. The clock is ticking. Every year that passes, the risk increases. Every decision to delay could mean losing everything. Or do we wait? Leave it buried, safe, preserved, untouched, until technology improves even more, until we can scan through solid rock, ground-penetrating radar that reads text, AI so powerful it reconstructs scrolls without touching them. Maybe in 10 years, maybe 20, the technology is accelerating exponentially. What seems impossible today might be routine tomorrow. But what if we don't have 20 years? What if Vesuvius erupts in 5 years, in 2 years, next year? This is the dilemma. Risk destroying a modern town for ancient knowledge? Or gamble on time, knowing we might lose everything? What would you do? The scrolls are speaking again. After 2,000 years of silence, thanks to genius AI, thanks to particle accelerators, thanks to 3 students who refused to believe the past was truly lost. But hundreds more scrolls remain, still buried, still waiting, still holding secrets we can only dream about. What other voices are waiting to be heard? What other philosophies waiting to challenge what we know? What other histories waiting to rewrite our textbooks? In those sealed rooms, in those unread scrolls, in that buried library, beneath Herculaneum, beneath a ticking volcano. What would you want to find? And how long are you willing to wait? So, what do you think? Should archaeologists risk everything, dig under modern Herculaneum, and race against Vesuvius? Or should they wait for technology to advance, even knowing the volcano could erupt tomorrow? Let me know your theory in the comments. And if this ancient mystery blew your mind, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're diving into more impossible discoveries that science is only now beginning to understand. Thanks for watching.